As documented in Locke's article, Separate and Unequal, for too many students, positive change in their education lives most often requires that parents leave a school, district, and even a state to find responsive educational opportunities for their special needs children, and in many cases, for Black and brown children in general.
We recently settled a major lawsuit here in the state of Delaware where we filed litigation against the state for their historic underfunding of public schools, as well as the county is not doing regular property assessments. We got a settlement where we now have millions of more dollars coming into public schools for low-income students, students with disabilities, English language learners. But we know from doing education equity work for many years that getting funding is really only the beginning of this work. That we have to have a commitment not just to get funding in the door, but to make sure that funding is responsive to community needs, that it actually addresses what is the major problems in a school or a school district, and that it really uplifts all students across the board.
The jury, however, is still out on whether effective change has followed successful lawsuits. The dismal reality is that within public schools in each state's system, there can be significant differences in school culture, leadership perspectives, and teachers' expectations.
I think the committee allows you to really see what's going on in the school, see what goes on behind the scenes. You know, too often we, come in the morning, drop them off, and, go about our day, never understanding or realizing, behind the scenes, like there's things going on that's gonna, take away from the child's learning. It's gonna take away from the needs that they have. So I think it's important that, we just take a little more time, just to ask a couple questions, just look a little deeper and see what's going on with your child's school. Make sure it's really what you need, what your child needs.
The Parent Advocacy Council, PAC, meets monthly to engage in guided conversations with community leaders and educators as trusted information sources. Discussion topics are wide-ranging and responsive to the interests of the school's parents.
It was a way to incorporate and link parents to the school and give them the information about their child and the education process.
This commitment to inclusion is communicated through traditions and emerging practices that facilitate school engagement and self-regulation.
Information and teaching her to advocate for herself, being that resource, knowing what resources we have available.
A key strategy of the ACLU's Equity and Safe Schools work is the mobilization of parent councils that function as significant supports to school personnel.
I feel like if your child is enrolled here in school, we should be able to have that extra communication, that relationship to help make this learning experience for our children a lot easier.
These are tools that ultimately support all students in defining purpose and developing commitment to their own educational achievement. ACLU Delaware applauds the Charter School of Newcastle for abandoning push-out policies with zero-tolerance discipline practices that exclude students from learning opportunities. Instead, the school achieves an inclusive culture through routine use of restorative conversations and interactions.